If I was at home and for any reason I thought I was hallucinating or I thought the person I was talking to wasn't really there, I could use her almost as a reality check.
Dog lovers, welcome back to Rescued by a Dog, the podcast about dogs that have actually saved their owners' lives. As always, I'm Laura, and this season of the podcast is entirely listener-supported. Today's episode is sponsored by a listener in honor of Freedom Canine Project, a service dog organization for survivors of sexual abuse and domestic violence. To learn more about this incredible organization, go to www.freedomcanineproject.com. That's K9 spelled with a K and a 9. So again, freedomk9project.com. If you'd like to sponsor an episode in honor of your favorite organization or in honor of a person or dog, you can email me at rescuedbyadogpodcast@gmail.com. Again, rescuedbyadogpodcast@gmail.com. Today, you're going to hear from Kody, whose amazing Pup Luna learned to tell him when he's having a schizophrenic hallucination. Hi, Kody.
Hi there. Can you hear me all right?
I can, and I can't wait to hear about your dog. Why don't you kick this off by telling me the name of your dog and what do they look like?
So my dog's name is Luna. She is we think a Jack Russell Terrier mix. She's about 30 pounds. She is tan colored and she has kind of long hair that we have to constantly get trimmed. But she is very energetic, very spirited, and she's a very fun dog, given that she still has to help me out a lot with different tasks.
Awesome. How did you find her?
We actually got Luna through a family friend who had an accidental litter of puppies. So they were either going to have to give the dogs away or potentially have to put some in like the Humane Society. They weren't going to be able to take care of all of them. So we actually went and looked at the puppies with my wife having no intention of me leaving with a puppy. She was sorely mistaken, as I did fall in love with Luna because even as a puppy, she had very big energy. She was very playful. And so at that time we had and still do have an older dog. Her name is Daisy Mae. She's a chunky old puggle. And she is very much the opposite of Luna. She's, very loungy, not a lot of energy. And so I always grew up with like more energetic dogs. So when I met her, I fell in love with her and I scooped her up right away. Puppy stage is my favorite. I love training a dog, teaching them to do like things that you really like. So one of the things my wife was able to teach Luna how to do was hug. So now Luna will actually like jump up and hug your leg or hug you around the waist.
How old is Luna?
4 or 5? 2019. So yeah, it's what?
5.
But like April. Yeah, so 5 actually.
Can I see her?
Yeah. Okay, so this is Luna.
I mean, that is one of the cutest dogs I have ever seen. Oh my God, her face. She's like a movie dog. When you draw a cute dog, you would draw her like that.
Yeah.
Luna.
Because I'm diagnosed with schizophrenia, I do still have symptoms like hallucinations and delusions. Before we got Luna, I was still really struggling with a lot of symptoms. So I was finding myself in more depressive episodes. I was really struggling a lot with motivation and not being able to really take care of myself. And when we got Luna, a lot of that changed because she's, one, a very active dog, which meant I couldn't just let her outside. I had to take her for walks. I had to get up. I had to really play with her because she doesn't get tired out unless she gets to get out and do something. Because she's high energy, it was so easy to be happy because she would always be doing something just ridiculous and silly. It was like just the light I needed. I started doing social media a few years before we got Luna. And when we got her, I had already grown to over 1 million TikTok followers. I was still working a full-time job, but it was really stressful because I was juggling a full-time job. We were new homeowners, And, I was still struggling with severe mental illness. It was a tough time where, a lot of people were counting on me to do this new role of sharing my story all of the time, which was really stressful. And, I wasn't taking care of myself well at that time. So it kind of boiled over into me needing Luna to help me with feeling more comfortable around the house. And Luna was as soon as we got her as a puppy, she was very responsive. She wasn't immediately trained to help me in any way, but she was immediately very responsive to me being not well. So she could tell when I was having symptoms and she reacted like she wanted to help. And I was reached out to by a person who trains dogs and psychiatric service dogs, and they told me there was a task that Luna could do, which is to help identify visual hallucinations. So, one of my breakthrough symptoms with my schizophrenia is I do have visual hallucinations both at home and in public. And this trainer told me that if I can train her to sit on command or greet on command, then if those two basic tasks, I could train her to do this. And so basically, how it works is I would train her to greet people on command. So if someone was there, she would go up, she would greet them, she would come back. If no one was there, she knew to sit down and look up at me. And so this took like weeks of doing these tasks repetitively. And then after she got used to it, in a moment where I was having symptoms, I started doing that. I started asking her to greet. So if I was at home and for any reason I thought I was hallucinating or I thought the person I was talking to wasn't really there, I could use her almost as a reality check. I knew I could trust her because, my schizophrenia caused me to be paranoid about people or distrust people. My brain could not fathom that a dog would be lying to me, so it was like a reliable way for me to reality check what was going on around me. As soon as I started doing it, I started feeling more comfortable in my house. I started being able to identify my hallucinations more, made me feel more comfortable even going out in public because I knew that like I had fact checked or reality checked my hallucinations enough to know like some of the signs of me starting to experience different symptoms.
How often does it happen that she's able to break a hallucination like that?
Early on when we got her, it was a lot more common. I was still working on my medication a lot, and as time has gone on, I've been very fortunate that the transition to my new medication has led to less symptoms. I would say that when we first got her trained to do this task, I was asking her maybe once a day, once every other day. Now, that being said, sometimes it was real interaction. Sometimes I was just getting paranoid, and it wasn't always because I was having active hallucinations, but I was asking her to do it pretty frequently. Now, I would say I ask her maybe once a week if I really feel like I'm having increased symptoms or if I feel uneasy for some reason. The video of her doing this task that I posted on social media has gone insanely viral. Millions of views, all sorts of different platforms. In that moment, I was actually having symptoms. So I thought that I was talking to someone in my kitchen. And so I was talking to this person for about 20, 30 minutes. And then I started to question, as a person with severe mental illness who's on medication, I started to get a little bit of clarity and I was questioning why I was talking to someone who I don't remember letting in. And because of that, I was able to recognize that maybe I needed to have Luna greet this person. But one of my other coping mechanisms I use is I will actually, if I'm out in public, I tend to use this more where I open my phone, pull up the camera, and I'll look through my camera to see if the person's really there. So at this time, when I was recording the video, I was doing both, and I wasn't really recognizing that because I was in an active state of like going through these symptoms, basically in an active state of psychosis. And I was both trying to verify over my phone that no one was there, but at the same time, I had asked Luna to greet. So I tell Luna to greet, and she sits down and looks up at me, and that's how I know that no one's there. Because if someone was there, she would actually go greet them and then come back to me, and that's what helped me realize that I needed to get a hold of my wife. I needed to make sure that I was safe and that I was alone in the house. There's a few things I do now. I always call my wife right away just to let her know that I am having difficulties. And then from there, I knew that like my office is really my safe space. It's really set up for me when I'm having symptoms. It's where I have all of my coping mechanisms, all of my comfort items, and usually I would bring Luna down there with me, and that would be kind of how I would spend my time until my medication really kicked in. There are some times where I'm overwhelmed and I can't have her in there with me, but she, knowing that I'm struggling, she would never go far. She was always right there as soon as I was ready to come out.
Does she like doing the work of helping you figure out if people are real?
I get a lot of comments on this, and some of the comments on there say that she looks sad or she looks like they feel bad for Luna doing this. I can tell you right now, once she has completed that task, she comes up to me so happy, and it's like it really overwhelms me because like she does look very serious when she's doing it. And when the video was over and I cut, she came right up to me, and then because my wife has trained her to hug, she automatically hugs me when she's done doing it. And so literally I know it's enough to make you cry. And she goes straight from a service dog to my best friend. And then she'll usually try to get my attention away from that. So she becomes very playful after she's done the task. And part of that, I think, is because in times where she hasn't done that, I have a tendency to forget that I asked her to greet. And if I don't have a distraction, I tend to like fall right back into a state where I don't understand what's going on, and I still think I'm hallucinating. And I probably in those moments asked her to greet over and over, and so I think she learned kind of on her own that if I get that when I'm done with that initial like asking her to greet, if no one's there, she almost like tries to start playing with me. She'll bring me a toy, something like that, as a way to distract me. And that's not anything she was trained. That's just something I think she figured out as a way to keep my attention away from whatever it was I was dealing with. When we first got her, I also had a tendency to self harm. I would hit myself in the head and the face when I was having symptoms because I didn't know how to cope with it. And Luna will actually ground me. So she will like get up and pull on my arm, or she'll get up and like put her paws on my arm or on my chest to try to get me to stop. If I'm sitting down, she will jump in my lap and put her head right in between my head and my arm so that I know not to hit myself. I think the biggest difference between before I got Luna and me now would be that um, I'm just a lot more comfortable and confident in my like everyday life. I feel like more sure of myself. I feel more confident in my ability to like reality check. She really made it so that I could enjoy my day to day life again. I think my favorite moment that I can remember with Luna was finding out that she loved ice cubes. Me and my wife were in the living room. One of us dropped an ice cube, and she was a puppy at this point. So the ice cube, I mean, we're talking not much smaller than her head. And so like, and she's trying so hard to destroy this ice cube, and she just can't. Luna's love language is kissing you in the face when you're not ready for it. My wife always jokes that, they always say in like romantic comedies, it's supposed to be like 90-10, right? You go 90, you wait for the other 10. Luna doesn't do that. She goes 100% in. She will go right for your face. She will bonk you in the nose.
If Luna could speak human English, what would you like to say to her?
I think I would just like thank her for like always being there, and I know that she would do anything for me, so I think I would just over anything I would just thank her. She also made our whole lives just more like joyful and maybe chaotic at times, but in a good way.